My name is Alex Weiss. I'm a pastor of a Spanish-speaking, even though we do bilingual with the generations, but a Spanish-speaking congregation here in Sacramento. And Pastor Scott talked about it. This is a pandemic that is growing in our community, our Hispanic community. Just 5-10 years ago, it was at 30%. Now it's at 40%, though. So it's growing. It's almost half of the homes that we're looking at, fatherless homes in our community. So that's why there is a sense of urgency. That's the reason why I'm here. I feel very passionate about this issue, and I really think that we do have to address it.
Scott, let me just give you one more opportunity. Why are you passionate about this? What effect are you seeing in your church or in your community that causes you to be particularly passionate?
Well, my passion is rooted in that opening comment that I said I'm sorry, was it for me or for
No, it's for you.
It's for me. That opening comment was, I see people view fatherlessness like homelessness, sex trafficking, poverty, crime as just on the short list, instead of seeing it as the root of these other things. And until you see it as the root, you will never give it the emotional and resource focus that you need to begin to move the mountain and change history. So my passion is to get people to move fatherlessness to the highest place of awareness in their life and heart.
Thank you so much. Dr. Ennis, who are you and why are you passionate about this issue?
So I'm Dr. David Ennis. I'm a local entrepreneur here. I'm also a professor at William Jessup University. My students are in the back. The reason why, so in addition to all of those things, what I am is a fatherless father. And I think that when we are trying to get to the core of the issue of fatherlessness and we're looking at solutions, the fatherless father, I believe, is an important link. So I think that I carry the experience of what it means to be fatherless. And I've studied this as a part of my research in bringing the most recent research on fatherless men from a qualitative perspective, meaning I'm very interested in what they are feeling. And I'm that bridge between them and my sons. I call it fathering for my grandkids because my grandkids, we normally look 2 generations back. My grandkids will look back 2 generations and see men who had a model of positive male citizenship in the family. That's why it's important to me.
That is glorious, wonderful. I also want you to notice he said professor and entrepreneur in the same sentence, which I thought was amazing. I love that. I love that. Let's maybe go back to Alex real quick. Alex, when you think about an audience like this who is gathered, they're hearing some of these stats, they're thinking about their own local community, their neighborhood, but we don't want to be hopeless. We want to move to hope. What is something that we can do tangibly to get involved in this issue and make a difference? And particularly, what have you seen in your community?
Well, I can start with my church. And what I already see around me, there's many single family homes. And I want to engage in those homes because they're fatherless homes. And it's important for them to see a male role model. It's important for them to see an example of what a father looks like. And even though I had a father, but my father was absent. So I missed out on a lot of what I needed in my life. And I know that I picked that up by having mentors and having men in my life that have been like fathers to me. So I'm doing the same back, doing it back in our giving back to our community and really focusing on these young teenagers, children too, that need that father role. And not only that, I am equipping other men to do the same thing. Because it is very important, what Pastor Scott was talking about, that we see that there are people that have a heart for this, that really can reach out to this next generation and give them a positive role model, a male role model of fathers and what a father looks like. Because I think that's where we can begin to sow hope in their hearts and hope in the heart of our own society.
Wonderful. I love the generational component of that. As Dr. Ennis said, breaking that cycle and being able to cast a seed that goes down 2 generations into the future, and then a sense of hope. Awesome. Pastor Scott, what do you think that we can do here in the audience? We got all kinds of folks from different settings. What can we do to address hope in this issue and make a tangible difference?
Well, I think it begins by healing the breach in your own life with God and healing the breach in your own relationships within your family, because you cannot just suddenly enlist thousands of broken men who've not been made whole and spill them into the system as mentors. because they're going to turn away from it. You got to make the heart of men whole. It's on churches, not businesses. It's not on the education. It's not on government. It's on pastors to begin to build whole men, and then releasing those whole men into a culture of generational, functional, and situational fatherless young men and women.
Love that, love that. Dr. Ennis, one of the things I've appreciated about your research is that it's not quantitative, which is not to diminish quantitative research, which has to do with sort of counting numbers and objectifying the results of fatherlessness, but it's qualitative. You actually have sort of dialed into folks' experience itself. Talk to us a little bit about what can this group do to make a difference in the issue of fatherlessness.
So it's very important that you pointed out the qualitative nature of my research. So I've studied the fatherless man because I made it my business to do that. And so I've ended up speaking to CEOs of companies, vice presidents of sales for companies, but I've also ended up speaking to Bloods and Crips. But we all speak the same language. And that language is one of desire for seeing a positive male in our lives. If you want a tangible thing that you can take away from, I believe that fatherlessness and the core issue is the idea of perception of masculinity. We have lived in a society that tells men that their virility and their ability to provide is a measure of masculinity. We've lived in a society that tells men to be a man and man up, which simply means to leave your emotions behind as you deal with issues. And I'm saying that that is not the measure of a man. We have to become nurturing men that are willing to tell our son something that I desired for many years and never got. 3 simple words: well done, son. And as someone simply said to me, one of the people that I studied, he said, I'm a Christian. And when Jesus was standing in the water and the voice came from heaven that said, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased, he said, what was God doing? He said, God was affirming his son. And if Jesus, a perfect man, required the affirmation of his father, what do our children need?